Welcome to the 10 Acre Woods. It is May the 7th. I usually upload my video on the Saturday night to Sunday for the day, but it was such a busy weekend I didn't get it uploaded, so it'll be available on Monday. I just wanted to go over here some of the goats. We've had people asking about, how are the goats doing? And this is little Lenora. Now Lenora, she was abandoned by her mother because she was a triplet and she wasn't doing so good. So we took her in, and if you've been watching our videos, you will have seen her in with chicks. So she was being raised by chicks. So it was kind of cute. We didn't know, it was touch and go for quite a while. We didn't know how she was going to make out. She wasn't taking the bottle. Now she has a slight overbite on her bottom jaw, and that may have been the problem. We then noticed that she was drinking out of her or out of the chick's water. So we thought, well, let's get a bowl in there, and sure enough, she took to it. So she's doing excellent, and the other kids are out back. So we're going to take a walk out to the back here. We're going to find them, and we'll give you a little show on them. Actually, here's one of them here. Him being chased by a goose. This is one of Blackie's. So this is one of the ones that did make it. One of the two that Mom kept, right? And they're extremely friendly. Where'd your mom go, eh? Where'd your mom go? Okay, so we'll go back and find the other ones. Here's some of the geese. I've had some comments, people asking about how to start up a little hobby farm, which I may touch on that next week. I'll get a little bit more involved in that. We have had, or I have posted a video called The History of the 10 Acre Woods. But if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link up here, and you can watch that one. It'll be in one of these corners anyway. I'll also put it down in the description. There's another one that talks about our animals and their stories, and that's exactly what it's called, Animals and Their Stories, and also put that in there as well. Those ones I don't, or that one I don't cover the birds. So then there's yet another one that says duck or drake. So I'll post all three of those. So if you're interested in that, you can watch that. And I found the herd. So the sheep have had their wool trimmed. So that was a few weeks back. So this, they're hard to tell now. I think this is Lambert. Lambert, this is Tinker. They're just, when they get back here, they get into eating mode and just cleaning up. So here's Blackie and Patches. And then we have Blackie's kid. So here's the other Blackie's kid. And this is Snow's kid. You guys are all in business, eh? You're just business mode. And Sweetie. And then of course there's Velvet over there. She's limping a little bit. She's been, I think she hurt her leg on a fence as she was jumping up. So this we have, let me think here. So this one here and this one over here. You guys are in the bush, you're so hard to see. These ones are Patches kids. And of course the big boy here is Sweetie's. So you can clearly see, well, he's standing on a log, so I guess maybe not clearly. You can see the difference between him and the other two. Now, he is actually the youngest one of all of them. Hey, kids. Yeah, see, this just isn't going to work. I got to film you guys when we're up front and not when you're back here. So actually, while I'm back here, this is, we run a kids group called Trackers, and last year we had built this. So kind of a shelter, a lean-to type shelter. And part of the craft that we did was do some name plates. So on the final day of our Trackers group, 2016, there it is. We put this up. We had two groups. One is called the tadpoles and one was the frogs. So the tadpoles was the young group and the frogs was the older group. So we have everybody's name in here that participated, and it's quite the lean-to attached to this large tree here. So that's one of the things that we do with the kids group. And then of course, I think this might have been my daughter that did this. Danger. Another idea we're planning on possibly doing is like a kids-friendly haunted forest. And I found Lucy. Lucy, you're not back there with the rest of them. What's happening? Hey? What's happening? So Lucy, if you don't know, is unofficially the world's smallest adult living goat. And the boy, Sweetie's boy, is roughly the same size, standing beside each other. Lucy's a little more filled out, but she stands about 30 centimeters tall, and that's to the back, to the back of the back. Oh, she's going. You know, when they get back here, it's all business. So we let them, even the pigs. I tried to go over and check out the pigs, but boom, they just bolted right through the bush. Now, something interesting here. Just something I want to bring up, that if you're looking at getting animals, you can see this area has a lot of brush, and I brought this up before, and of course this is all nice and clear. So if you have goats, what goats will often do is they'll walk up and they'll push over a branch. Goats eat above their shoulders, preferably. Now back here where we just were, they were eating off the ground, and the sheep will always eat off the ground. So by having sheep eating the ground cover area, keeping it down, and having the goats eat the higher stuff, they make excellent bush clearers. Look who we have here. I'm not your mom. You looking for your mom? Your mom's out back. And of course, Lenora. Come on, Lenora, let's go in. Pond's looking good. Now, this was something people have asked. They said, "Oh, how much power does your windmill put out?" It is not an electric windmill. It is. It actually drives a pump that runs through a rock aerator. It's not running really fast right now. It's a little consistent, but what it does, it brings the cold water up from the bottom, and that warm water from the top circulates back down, creating a more even flow of temperature throughout the water. So if you watched last week, we hooked up the electric poultry netting, and we've soon found out that the charger, the fence charger, seems to drop down to 0. So we're going to have a look at that and see what's going on. So in here, we have actually two chargers. One charger's in here with the rabbits, and it does the front section. So, and as you can see here, you can hear a slight click, and there's no numbers. So it's obviously grounding right out. So we'll have to check that and see what the problem is. So as you can see, the box is completely unplugged, and it's going down to 0. So good thing I have an electronics background. So I'm going to pop this apart and see what is going on. Once before, when this happened with my old charger, it was a metal case, and it was actually grounding out onto the side of the case. But this one's plastic. It may be grounding out into another section, but we'll figure this out. Alright, after drilling those screws out, there's specialty screws. And if you can see that, it's actually called a Torx drive. It's they use them for specialty tools, so Joe Public can't get their fingers in. Now, I am an electronic technician by trade, so I know what I'm doing in here, so don't try this at home. But I opened this up. There doesn't seem to be a lot of issues. There is a broken component, which is a resistor. It's just the heat covering ceramic portion of it. So it just shows that there was a lot of heating up. So we can talk about this, I guess make my own what's inside. Everybody's doing that kind of thing, right? So just to have a look at this, if you don't know how electronic or electric fences work, there's a capacitor in here. And that ticking noise, it charges up. Think of a capacitor as a battery, but a battery that charges up and discharges really quickly. So what happens is this is the works for the timing circuit and everything, and to work up the voltage. This is the capacitor that discharges through this transformer, and this transformer, basically the inner workings of it make it go from 120 volts AC, which is your regular plug-in, up to the 6,000 or 20,000 volts that this thing puts out. But I'm not going to get too far into electronics. It puts out a higher voltage, but it puts out a lower amperage. So that's why this can't kill you at 6,000 volts, yet 120 volts can kill you because it has the amperage behind it that the output of this doesn't have. So that's an interesting, if you've ever wanted to know what's inside of a electric fence charger, there it is. Okay, so I got it back together again, and the important thing when putting these things or taking these things apart is to make sure, you know, you don't damage anything. So I screwed out the ends, or drilled out the ends, and then just put regular screws in there to replace them, so I can take it apart again a lot more easier than taking it apart this time. All right, so here we go. Plug it in. So as you can see, we have 13.6 kilovolts on here, which isn't full power. It should be, with no load on the end, with no fence or anything hooked up to it, it should be reading maxed out at 19.9 kilovolts. So there is some internal issues with it. So what I may do is I may just take this back as a defective unit. The store I bought it off of has a really good return policy. Their slogan is, if you're not satisfied, they're not satisfied. And that is great for stuff like this. There should be no reason. I only picked this up, I think 2 years ago. There should be no reason why it is failing like this. And I'll take it back and replace it out. So in the meantime, I'll go hook this back up to the electric fence out front, and we'll keep those animals contained. We're sitting at 16.3 kilovolts, so I may not return it just yet. I'll keep an eye on it and see if it does start to have issues, but there was clearly a problem with it overheating on one of the resistors, and that's why it broke apart one of those ceramic pieces. So it looks good. We'll go out and we'll have a look at the fence. So you can see here how we've hooked everything up, so it covers quite a distance out and around. Now, one issue we did have with it zapping the ground was over here. The ground's not all that even. So you can see here how the line is very close. The black one isn't energized, but the second one is running across. And if this touches the ground like this, it can start to snap onto the ground and ground out and dropping that number that we saw on the unit. So what I did is I grabbed one of these temporary posts and I just put it in between, tightened it up so that that second wire is actually not touching the ground. So if you live in an area that has a lot of ups and downs, then you might want to look at doing something like that. Another thing that you can do that I was looking at, some of the rabbits that we have running around decided to chew that bottom wire, which you can kind of see here. So they chewed the bottom wire. It wasn't on, it wasn't zapping, so of course they chewed it to get through. So we just opened up this section of fence here, just to allow them to go where they want to go. Now, if that bottom wire is still snapping, what you can do is this wire here connects all of the wires that run across together. And if you see that shiny in there, that's actually a metal wire that runs through that, that's braided. These ones actually don't have it going up and down. It's just the ones that run horizontally. So if you're still having a problem with it zapping, you can actually disconnect the bottom wire so that it's not connected to that bottom one, and have two wires on the bottom that don't zap. So we had a great weekend, beautiful. It started off actually on Saturday. I guess it started off all right on Friday. Saturday it got a little cold, and you know, you kind of wonder about those forecasters. But anyway, it was a great weekend. It was a long weekend. Time to relax tonight before work tomorrow. Yeah, you guys have been making lots of comments, and I've been trying to answer. I think I've answered all of them. But if you have any questions about any of my videos, please leave it in the comments below. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. And all the links that I talked about, I will put down in the description. So until next weekend, we will see you then. Bye-bye.